The story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
I don't want to win a Grammy. That music really ain't my style. Don't care for CMA or ACM. They ain't been country for a while. The Grand Ole Opry booted Hank and Cash.
Hey there, Conroe. This is Andrew from the Audience of One show that airs Wednesdays at 10 a.m. right here on KZCC 106.1 and 104.5 FM. Make sure to tune in and keep it on for Community Radio's version of a slow motion train wreck. You will hear our take on some of the world's oddest news, our mind droppings, and general banter from your favorite radio friends, me and Dick Schisler. We are also available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. That's right. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio here on irlonestar.com worldwide and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. I had the NMCC Ford Mustang Club in the studio today because we're going to be talking about the upcoming, well, really tomorrow, the 15th annual All Ford Show. And these guys have been in the studio before. We have Robert, Yolanda, and Randy in the studio. What's going on, guys?
Not much. Just getting ready for this show. Thank you for letting us be back.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it because I think the last time I spoke to you, I was getting a Ford Maverick.
Right.
And now I have a Ford Maverick.
Right. So just in time for the show.
Yeah.
which by the way, is no longer a car. It's now a truck.
Is it? Yeah, well, see, that's the biggest argument with one of my best buddies is it a truck? Because he's a truck guy, and he gave it an inappropriate nickname. He's like, that's not a truck.
So what's the nickname?
I'm not going to say it on the air.
You can't say it on the air, man.
Well, it has a bed, so
that's true. But he laughs.
A smaller bed.
He laughs when he gets in it. That's for sure. He's a big guy.
It's a nice vehicle though. Yeah. They've done a nice design on that.
But let's kind of talk about the show tomorrow. I put a link just to let folks know who have any questions about what we're talking about for tomorrow's event at Papa's on the Lake. I put a link to the Facebook event, and basically it's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's a free event to attend, but if you want to participate, you better $30, and it's got to be a Ford car with a combustion engine.
Right.
Well, it also has to be. Make sure it has to be a Ford powered car also. Yeah. So we had somebody sneak in a few years ago with a Chevy engine in there. They won an award. We had to take it back.
That's interesting. Right. Why would they even try to do that? Is that just because car people are weird?
No, the Chevrolet engine is cheaper to put into a car.
I had no idea.
Yes, it's more expensive to rebuild a Ford.
Can you just buy a Mustang engine?
You could go get a crate motor, yes.
Sure.
Like from Ford?
From Ford, yeah.
Really? I always thought you had to do like secondhand stuff. That's why people go to the junkyard. They're like, oh, I could, out of these 9 Mustangs that are POSs, I can put together a real good one. But I guess Ford, you can just go to Ford and be like, hey, here's $20,000, give me an engine.
You can go get a late model crate motor. And
that's what it's called, a crate?
Crate. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm learning a lot today.
They actually, you could go down here to Gullo Ford, who's our sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're sponsoring this event, and the fund. Basically, this is raising funds for kids. We get it.
Right. It is. Yep. It's for their foundation. We'll get to that later, like you say. But yeah, you could go there and you could order a crate engine from Gullo, and have it delivered right here.
That's crazy.
You could contract.
I don't know why that surprises me, but it does. I don't know why, but it does. Because people, and that's what we were kind of talking about off the air with the incoming like rules and things like manufacturers trying to figure out doing electronic vehicles. I think what they're going to lose is that passion that people have for their individual combustion engine car where they tinker on it and they do small upgrades and they do those kind of things because I feel like that's kind of the heart and soul of a club like y'all's.
Right.
Because every car. Remember, let's talk about last time I wanted that pink car.
Right.
I think that would be really cool to have a hot pink car. Like call it the Barbie or something like that.
Yeah, Mary Kay car.
Because they don't. What do they call that one in Gone in 60 Seconds?
Eleanor.
We'll call this one Barbie.
Yeah.
Like, see, we got cool girl names.
We had a guy over in Hempstead, Horace Collins, that had a Playboy pink. It was ordered under that color, Playboy pink.
Interesting.
1967 Mustang, perfectly restored. He called it Pinky.
Yeah. See, that's what I like, that kind of stuff. But like in the newer vehicles, I feel like if you try to replace any part yourself, it literally shuts down and calls the police.
It's kind of gotten that way. There are a lot of things you have to go to the dealer to have worked on, but I think as we go forward in time, you're going to see a lot of this next generation coming up behind us.
Yeah.
Who will have the knowledge and background in programming, and this is going to get more into the programming side, and they'll learn how to modify this stuff, and they'll learn.
Well, there are people. I've seen YouTube channels of like there was one particular guy I don't really remember, but this is from like 8 years ago. He's just a car dude, and he wanted to work on Teslas, so he just started working on putting together, going to the junkyard, taking batteries out, putting together. He's like, I wonder if I can rebuild a Tesla, like just using parts. And I think he was saying that Tesla wasn't really happy with him because he was videoing everything. But then I guess they finally embraced it, but they don't give him full, what do you call it? Like, he's not an actual mechanic.
Yeah, they don't give him full access.
Yeah, but he can work on cars. So if his neighbor had a Tesla, he's legally allowed to get paid because he's being sued for working on cars, which is crazy to me.
That'll probably come along too. But I mean, if you look at we go back in time, you used to use a gapper to gap your spark plugs.
Yeah.
And then you'd use a timing light to set your timing. Now, it's all done in the computer. You email the program around, the tune, as they call it.
I don't even want to, so I worked on my car right before I sold it, my older car, because I had a rat living in it, and it was chewing up wires. So I had to do a lot of you got to figure out what's going on with it. And then when I opened up the Maverick engine, I was like, oh my God. Like I was sitting there going I feel like if I touched anything on the right side, I'm going to blow up. Because I think that was the hybrid part. And I was like, that's what I heard. It's very dangerous to mess with the hybrid stuff because of the battery and everything. But I can't believe people know how to do that.
Oh, you look at these hackers that hack computers and
you just gave me a look like you know how to do that.
No,
you're like this guy.
No, I don't know how to do that stuff.
I mean, it's wild. It is wild, and especially like you say, going forward, I guess there is going to be. Hopefully, there is that younger generation, which is something you guys want to talk about. Is like if you own a Ford Mustang in the area, join the club.
Right.
Oh yeah,
because y'all go on rides, y'all do these fun events.
We just recently done a cruise to Brenham. It was beautiful. Once we got to Brenham, we had lunch. We had about 20, 25 people.
All Mustangs.
All Mustangs, and and just had a great time. I think everybody really had a great time with that one because it was just we had no problems getting there.
I heard a lot of positive reviews from your cruise.
What do you mean problems? Like police?
No. There's a lot of
Robert found one of those.
Well, the way you said it though is like we had no problems getting there. I'm like, well, is there like a time limit you had to get there? Is that like these cruises? You say cruise, but is it like, hey, last one there's a rotten egg kind of thing?
No, it's just sometimes the route causes problems if you have to go through too many intersections. And,
because you're trying to stick together.
You're trying to stick together, and if you go through about 3 or 4 lights and you get separated,
you've got an excuse to catch up.
Then you got to try to catch up somewhere. Yeah.
What's the point of having a Mustang if you're not trying to catch up, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this because I was curious because I've been visiting the Ford dealerships a lot because I was with my car. And do they still make like the current Mustang? Can you buy a Shelby? Can you buy a Saline? Can you buy those versions of those cars?
Saline just released this 24.
Yeah, the black label.
The black label.
Just
okay, so they are still working.
They're still in production, yes.
Because there's one other one I'm missing. It's like
you got the Shelby.
You got the Shelby and the Roush.
The Roush is the third one I was thinking of. And those are all just weirdos working on cars, and they go, "Hey, look, mine's better than yours," and then the next year, like, "No, mine's better than yours."
Different.
Well,
because I feel like Ford bought Shelby. Did they buy it?
Ford bought Shelby, yes.
Okay, so
that's a production, a factory race car.
Okay.
When you buy it.
And then Saleen's still independent, and Roush is still independent?
Yes, they're independent. And then Shelby American out in Vegas actually is a company that builds parts, and you can buy, like you were talking about, for the people that want to build their own.
Yeah.
You can buy the various parts put on there. And you can do that from Roush, and you can do it from Saleen as well.
Because hold on, let me understand this. So does Saleen and Roush make their own parts?
They do build their own parts, yes.
Right.
So that's okay. That's
You'll
huge.
see a Roush supercharger, or you'll see a Saleen supercharger.
So they they fabricate these
Right.
parts.
Yeah, you have to look
That's
at
amazing. I didn't know. I did not. I
They
thought
make
they
their
were
own
like
hoods and fenders and bumpers.
See, I can see that because I always imagine what those guys are. They're just tinkerers, and they understand weight ratios. And they understand all like, hey, this engine can do something, but I know what we can take away and add and make it better. That's always thought that's what they did.
Steve Saleen and Carroll Shelby were both race car drivers.
Yeah.
And they just had to keep tinkering with the car to make it run faster and do things to suspension to make it handle better so that they could win races. So they were actively doing that, and those turned into automotive manufacturing companies. Jack Roush worked for Ford Motor Company and was an engineer that just decided to go out on his own and start his own company because he was doing the same thing. He was building parts that made him run faster. He used to, back in the old days, he would drag race, and then he got into the road course racing, and now he's a big name out there with race car drivers.
See, I never knew that. I thought literally it was just some guy who's really good at putting a car together. That was it.
No. They were all ended up racing it somewhere.
Okay.
Right.
And then it just became their hobby, became their job. Is what happened.
And now, who's in y'all's opinion? What's the best Mustang out right now? Like new?
New? I don't know.
For cruising, joining the club. If I'm joining the club, what's the best one?
The Saleen was pretty impressive.
Are we talking about something that's coming out of Ford, or are we talking about an aftermarket?
Whatever. Because you got to have a Mustang, right? That's number one.
Right.
To join the club.
Well, not necessarily, but you still join the club.
Well, participate in y'all's annual events. I think y'all have different kind of rules. So, like, for example, tomorrow, it's just
all Ford.
It's all Ford. So I can bring my little hybrid Maverick.
Right.
You can bring it. You can enter it. Yeah.
And the only customization I did to it, I got floor mats. That's huge, right?
Well, hey.
It's clean. It is very clean. It smells very good.
Depending on whether you've got them shiny or matte, we'll give you
I got them dirty because that's the whole point of a truck. So they're dirty.
Yeah, I have a truck. I can relate to that. So no, you could bring it and enter it. Yeah.
So
engine's clean. You'll be good.
Yeah, it's based on cleanliness. That's how it's judged.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have checked it like 3 days ago. I'm just trying. What I've been doing is I just go online and I want to know how to do the basics. Because the brake thing messes with me because it has that special hybrid brake system. So I don't know if I'm going to mess with that stuff.
Right. So that's part electric, part mechanical. Huh?
Yeah. So like if I slam on the brakes, it's the normal brakes.
Yeah.
But if I cruise on the brakes, you can feel the difference, and it's using the electronic charging.
Feel a pulse,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pulsing.
It's really weird. And what's weird, it doesn't have RPMs on it.
Doesn't have a tack on the dash, huh?
Yeah, it just says power.
Power.
Wow.
It just says per power percentage. And I was like,
Okay.
that's weird.
Percentage. That's right. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So I'm used to having RPMs because that's the only time I could tell if my engine's running well or not.
Right. You don't want to how do you redline it when it's just power?
I actually haven't done that yet, to be honest, because I have this weird theory is when you buy a car.
You have Scotty come out and say, I have no more power.
I know. I have this theory, like when you have like a brand new car, you shouldn't do that to it until you start
break it in,
like the motor's actually moving around. I don't know. It's just a theory of mine.
Yeah, it's a theory. A lot of people say it's already broken, and it comes from the.
Well, I mean,
they tested at the
factory. I know but it's just me going like that'd be my luck.
Right.
And it's like, oh, let's see how fast this thing. But it's not going to go fast. It's a little baby hybrid truck. I don't really need it to go fast, but I do like fast cars.
Right.
I think the fastest car I was ever in, I think we went like 190 in a Ford GT.
Oh wow!
That was
you're
cool.
in a GT. That's
right.
That was cool. Because what's funny is this is the most random story. So sorry about this. So I used to live in Spring, and my buddies were always at that age where we'd always be at each other's houses. And then he lived in this neighborhood where trick or treating was huge. So we could see everything, and this neighbor of his was the head Houston Ferrari club. So when he opened his garage, he has this huge Ferrari symbol, and he has his 2 Ferraris. But when you have the meets there, it wouldn't just be Ferraris.
It would be everything.
It'd be everything. And so one time we went over there just to say hi, and then the guy let me get in the car with a GT.
Oh man!
And then because there's certain roads where we lived where you could, there's no stopping. Like it was still under development.
Yeah,
I mean,
not in spring anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. This is way back. This is like 2001. That time.
Yeah.
But
that must have been when they just brought the GTs back.
yeah, it's like right around then.
Right around then, yeah.
And then and then that was crazy. That car's a little crazy.
Yeah, that's another factory built race car.
Right.
But those
And you
don't
can bring
start,
that tomorrow to the All
Yeah.
Ford show.
Yeah, I would
you
love
could,
to see
you
that
could.
one.
We would love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
You can park it next to my Maverick.
There you go.
Hey, we can line that up for you.
Okay, I got to ask you this because y'all know more about cars. What's the deal with the Ford and them always choosing different paints? Like, why can't I get my truck in green? Why
don't
do they
know.
refuse to have a green?
Yeah. Why do they always come out with just 5 for this year, 5 different ones for next year? You can't always stick with one.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, because there has been some great colors that we
Well, they
wish
had
they'd
that
come back.
They had that Bronco Area 51 color.
Yeah.
I really liked that. And then I was like, I wonder if I can get that in the Maverick. Like, no, that was discontinued like a year ago. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I get it? Like, there's got to be a way to get it. No.
I'm partial to the grabber orange.
Paint shop probably.
Paint, yeah. Do it aftermarket.
Aftermarket, yep. But I don't know. I don't know why they.
Does that make
they
sense
do it
though?
like-
Because
yeah, yeah.
I started seeing that and I go, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why do they do it like this?
Well, I think part of that is they can designate by year certain codes. I know mine's a 2010 red candy, and the paint code is U6.
Well, yeah,
but that's
'cause
the only
I
year
guess
it was
it's
out
just for
there.
consistency.
Yeah.
I guess they don't want
But if
to.
you look at a parking lot right now,
It's ugly.
all you see is gray, black, and white.
Oh, that's what you're seeing right now.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like we're going back into the early days when they only offered 2 colors.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're going
Yeah.
back to where it's non-metallic looking,
Right.
flat paint. I kind of like the look, the current looks.
You might see 1 or 2 red cars on a parking lot. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like for the Maverick, you only had 5 choices, and 3 of them were like different color whites. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Right.
that's
And
weird.
off-white. Yeah.
Yeah. They had like a cactus color, which is odd.
Cactus. I've seen that color, but
It was odd. I got blue or gray. It says gray, but
It's
it
yeah,
looks,
yours is
looks
a grayish
totally
blue, from what I
Yeah.
remember seeing. But yeah,
Yeah,
a slate. There we go.
but I know it looks good when I'm driving it.
Yeah.
Do y'all feel good in your car? I feel good. I think I look good in my car.
Oh man, I really feel good in my Mustang. I can tell you
Yeah?
that. Yeah.
What kind of Mustang do you have?
I've got a 2010 convertible Mustang.
And it's red also.
It's red with a beige interior. But I don't know. It's we were talking about this last week at the 60th anniversary when we were doing interviews up there. When I'm in that car, nobody else needs to be there. I feel like I'm one with the car, and that doesn't happen to me in any other car. But when I'm in there, I can be alone or I can be with somebody, and it's just me in that car.
That's your me time riding around in the
That's
car.
so much fun. How about you?
That's when I put my Celine out. It just takes all the worries away. You can just kind of like forget everything and just hit the highway and just go down there and come back in a whole different attitude.
Until you find another police officer to follow you.
Well, that's the only thing I don't like about officers if they know too much about vehicles. They're like, oh, that's a sailing. I gotta follow that guy. You know what he's trying to do.
Right. Well, they say
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing about red cars too.
They do.
What was that called? Arrest Me Red? Is that the
Yeah.
joke?
Yeah.
Yolanda, what kind of car do you have?
Unfortunately, I do not have a Mustang.
Okay.
I know someone that has a Mustang.
She does know somebody.
Okay.
I just have a little bitty Kia Soul.
Okay. Well, that's nothing wrong with that.
But you know what? In our fall show, that's open to all makes and models, so she can put her Kia Soul in during the fall show.
Okay. Well, no, okay. Let's talk about this show for a little bit. So tomorrow on Saturday at Papa's on the lake, it's
Great venue.
It's right there off of McCaleb Road and 105. Is it called McCaleb Road right there?
It is called Michaela Road.
Okay, 'cause
Go
it
down
has
further,
like
it's
3
2872 or something.
It's like Fish Creek Thoroughfare, and then it's like
2878.
9 different names.
Yeah,
Whatever.
It does change names.
I thought it was Perry's Road.
No, you're way
I
off.
know, it's Michaela, buddy.
No, but so tomorrow you're at Papa's. They have a huge parking lot, and then you're going to have the basically you arrive and you can just walk around. If you have a car and you want to be in it, it's got to have a Ford motor in it. So I can literally have the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
As long as it's Ford driven.
As long as it's Ford driven. Look, see, that's what I'm liking.
Got to have the Ford logos on it, I think.
Yeah,
That's so much
the
fun.
Batmobile also is Ford driven.
There you go.
There you go. I didn't know that.
But then that starts at 8 a.m. Everything starts at 8 a.m. So if you've
Starts
got
at
a
8.
car, get there earlier.
Around 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we'd prefer you not get there till 8 at the earliest.
Okay, so everybody show up by like 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
9
car,
o'clock.
car people though will show up at 5, and
Yeah.
there'll be a line.
That's what I'm saying. Telling them 8 o'clock. Everybody.
So
And it's free for the public.
Free for the public.
That's correct.
What else? Is there going to be food? Is that at Papa's?
Well, you're at Papa's on the lake,
So
there's
that's
always
where you get food and drinks and
Right.
everything.
There'll be a guy on site that screen prints T-shirts that I think will probably look like this flyer, but he matches. He creates the show T-shirt look, and then he screen prints them right there. So you pick your color of the shirt and your size. If you've entered the show with your $30 entry fee, you get a T-shirt for free. But if you want to buy a shirt, I think it's $20, and anybody that shows up can buy a show shirt and go home with it.
And what this all is to raise money for the Golos Foundation for the it's basically kind of like Toys for Kids, or is it
Golo
called?
Christmas for Kids.
Christmas for Kids
Foundation.
And if you didn't know, every year Golo collects toys and gives toys to kids.
Well,
And-
not
but they-
only that,
but they also do something else.
They
too.
do quite a bit. I
Yeah.
mean, they take in the whole family and have a banquet.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
it's a
I
big
remember
deal.
it being a big deal when
Yes.
I actually heard about it
They
from
shut
Sparky.
down the Golo Ford showroom, and they bring everybody in, the families, all
Yeah.
the siblings and everything, and just create a Christmas atmosphere for them. Yeah.
And this all so. And let's actually backtrack a little bit, because this is the Montgomery County Mustang Club.
Well, it's Northside Mustang
Mustang-
Car Club.
Yes, and you guys are a nonprofit.
We are a
Right,
so-
501c7, yes.
Yes, and you guys raise money and help different charities around the area. But it's
Yes.
most importantly, what you guys do is build a community for people who love their Mustang.
Well, yeah,
or Ford, or not E-Mach.
Yeah, well, no, we'll take the E's also.
I'm
We'll
just
take
kidding.
those EVs in there,
I'm
man.
just kidding.
It's a Ford,
I mean, is it though? I feel like it is.
Yeah, it's a Ford. Hey, if it wasn't for that Ford, if they hadn't thrown that EV in there, regardless what it looks like, the Ford Mustang would be out of production, like the Chevy Camaro and like the Dodge Charger or Challenger.
I just don't believe that.
Yeah, no, it would have. EPA got involved, or the federal government got involved.
So they're not going to make any more regular Mustangs?
Well,
there's-
no,
they
the
still are.
Mustangs,
This
because
is the
of
way
the
they
EV,
saved the Mustang.
this is the way they saved it and are able
So
to
there's
keep it in
literally
production.
a rule saying like, hey, you cannot make any more of these cars unless that has this name
Well, you had to have an electric vehicle.
version of that.
That's correct.
That looks nothing like a Mustang.
Well, got the horse on the back.
It's
got
got
the logo
the horse,
on the back.
but it doesn't say Mustang.
Doesn't say Mustang. That's right.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the car guys trying to figure that one out at Ford? It's like, hey, did you read this giant book of law they're trying to do? Like, how can we keep the Mustang? We'll figure it out.
To me, it was kind of ingenious.
Well,
you know?
I know if that's the truth, that's the coolest story ever, because that to me tells me Ford cares about the Mustang.
Yeah.
So-
This is an interesting thing. All of the Ford family members have Mustangs, and they are all very dedicated to that Mustang. It's like their favorite car
Yeah.
of all the cars.
Well,
they
they
built.
also know there's a national following, the Mustang.
It's international. It's,
Yeah.
You were talking. Robert had the cruise last week here locally for the members of the club here in Montgomery County, and we've got them all over the city. But for the people that wanted to go out, they did a Blue Bonnet cruise over to Brenham. But at the same time that was going on, the National Club, which is an international club, put on a 60th celebration because the car's been in production for 60
Yeah.
years. The only car that's been in production that long. And that was over in Barber Motorsports Park in Leeds, Alabama, just outside Birmingham. We had people in from all around the world, but we had quite a few Northside members that went over there. And so we were all together over there. And we didn't all cruise in together, but we were certainly out on the track together. We were displaying cars together, being judged or just in a display area, collecting awards over there. As people collect awards over here tomorrow at the show locally. So it's just a way to get people off the couch. And if you don't want to just sitting up in a parking lot and wait for your car to be judged, you can get out on the track and drive your car as well. So we do those events also.
Right. And we also did coffee and cars.
That was 2 weeks ago, right? First Sunday of every month.
First Sunday of every month, and we were raising money for Habitat
For humanity. Yeah.
Right. So we're kind of like everywhere and doing everything. It's multi charities. We're not just one. We raise a lot of money for a lot of charities.
We do a lot of Montgomery County charities, but the idea is to get people out and have fun.
Right.
Leaving their house with their Mustangs, with other people that have the same, interests. So you have something to talk about when you all get together. So I think what we find, Dick, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's my fault.
I think what you find is the car brings us all together.
Yeah.
And you develop a friendship that ends up lasting a lifetime. We help each other out. You can be nationwide now if you know somebody somewhere else. And this is what happens going to the national shows. Like we've got people coming down from North Texas to take part in our show tomorrow, from a club up there. But you'll develop those friendships. If you break down somewhere else outside the state, you'll have a friend somewhere that'll pop up and help you get your car fixed. Well,
that's one thing I was always thought about, because you talk about this car show like for tomorrow, and you say awards, and I'm thinking like, what motivates people to really go do this? Because again, I think that's one thing that this electronic stuff's going to miss, is that passion from those individuals who put so much work into their car. They want to show it.
Right.
And so they come and you do awards. So I imagine you have different categories.
Oh, we've got 33 categories.
Well, also you kind of like
that sounds like everyone
change
gets a
the
trophy.
whole dynamics of judging, because how do you?
This is an all Ford show.
Well, if you do it like electric car,
yeah,
we put a lot of points in the engine area for combustion engines.
It's something like 15 points.
Right.
Well, because they modify it, right? Is that like our cleanliness?
Modified. But you're not going to have that with an EV. So we're going to have to go back and figure out totally how are we going to point this thing.
Well, I think it's also something where, like, especially with the EV, I bet there will be development of how to make it have certain accents and things like that, and cleanliness. And then, like, what can you really do with this thing?
Right.
Because that takes years, though, for people to develop that kind of interest.
Right.
Because, like, the Maverick's only been out for, 2 years? And you can find a whole slew of things what people are doing with that.
Aftermarket stuff.
Stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. And like, but it's like little things, like changing the light bulbs to be a certain type of light bulb.
Right.
Or putting these carbon fiber strips, or, that kind of thing. Probably the most interesting
custom floor
one.
mats or something.
Well, the most interesting one I found that I liked was the way the tailgate opens. And you can do, like, actually has a hydraulic system. So it didn't just fall. It's like,
so it releases down
slowly and stuff like that, and just little things like that. So it's kind of fun. And then they have a tent system for it that looked goofy as hell. But, well, it's just because it's a small truck. So it's like if you want to sleep 2 people, and he's like, you're like as long as the
go
truck.
Camping in it, you got a tent in the back.
Yeah. But no, that's the one thing I could see happening in the future is people just figuring it out, because that's my biggest concern with the e-vehicles, and what people are getting trained to believe is like you get a new one every 3 years. And like I purchased my vehicle with the intent of owning it for 10+ years.
Yeah, that's me.
Right.
And so that's the way I think, and that's why I felt about my Focus, and I took care of it. I learned how to do certain things by myself, because you do have to do maintenance. Now there's a whole another world with hybrid stuff, so I gotta I'm gonna research that.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting statistic about who leases the EVs compared
Well,
to
that's because most people who I know who have it, they lease it, and then they don't intend to own it for more than 4 years.
I got you. Yeah.
Because in their mind, it's like a battery thing, or there might
get
be
rid of it before that battery goes out.
Something like that, and that might not even how it really works. You never really know how the world really works. Especially for example, the hybrid. That's the only thing I was afraid of is Ford's only been doing hybrid for so long, not like Toyota, who's been doing it for 20+ years. Yeah. So it's like, all right, let's see what happens, and hopefully I don't get a lemon.
Hopefully they have the technology there.
Yeah. And so that's the only thing I'd be worried about is but it's funny now that I learned that's why they made them. They're still going to be making Mustangs anyway. Who cares?
That's right.
So
that's our only focus.
I mean,
Mustangs,
that's crazy to me.
Right.
It's a funny thing. Mustang, when I was going to Conroe High School, that was my first car.
Yeah.
There was another guy that I played football with over there that was selling this car for, I don't know if you remember, you used to collect these quarters and you'd fill up this booklet. And and you would turn that into a savings bond that matured at $25. So I had 4 of those. No, they matured at $100. I had 4 of those, and I bought this nearly beat to death Mustang from a guy for $400. And I had to work on it. I lived down in Oak Ridge North. I had to work on it every day to get it to school, but I didn't have to ride that bus to school, and I'd have to work on it to get it home. But, that's now in my blood. I'm on my 4th Mustang. I think you've got 4 of them sitting at home, don't you?
Right.
Yeah.
You just can't get rid of him. That's your problem. You don't. He doesn't know how to let go.
He doesn't know how to let go. That's right.
Which is fair. I would have kept my Focus if I had the space.
Right.
I would have kept that car because I was like, that was my first car, and it made a lot of noise. But I was like, I love this thing. This thing, I've had a lot of good memories in it. Even though that's the one thing I always wanted to do though, is take the Focus and like soup it up.
Well, then there's plenty of things to do.
Oh, you can do that.
Focus.
Focus. Yeah.
And there's a Focus Club.
Because I was going to get the STI version, but it only came in manual. And like I can drive manual for fun, but for daily driving, I'm like, I do not want to do that.
Well, as long as you're not going to Houston, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to deal with it. That's just me.
Well, the older I get, I don't want to deal with it either. No shifting for me. So.
Well, that's what it's just funny because like when buddy had a car, a Plymouth. It was an old school Plymouth, and it was manual, and it was a lot of fun. But then, when we're going to football games, I was like, this isn't fun. But cruising around, that's fun.
Right.
I used to have a Mazda 626. It was a manual.
Yeah, it's fun. But
Shifting.
then when you get in those traffic situations, you're like, I do not want to do this.
No, that's right. Yeah, riding that clutch. We do parades. One of the things we do is we'll carry dignitaries in parades. And you don't want to take a manual into a parade. That is an hour and it's an hour-long ride, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is
you don't want
more
to be
misery on your
you
clutch
don't want
leg
to be
than
in
you can
traffic in a
understand.
manual either.
Well, yeah, that's what. That's why I was just thinking. I was like, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
This car's gonna break.
But my daily driver it's a manual. So in Houston traffic, it does get tiresome.
Well, Robert lives a different life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He can't get rid of cars.
He can't. He can. He's got them collecting. He built a garage for it, so now he's got to put some lifts in so he can start.
That's
putting
what I
cars
like.
underneath.
And speaking back to the car shows, you got to appreciate when the vintage cars come.
Well, in my mind, it's always vintage cars.
Well,
when he said 2010, I was like, isn't that I consider that a vintage car.
Well,
but I know
I'm
it's
talking
probably not
like-
technically. You probably,
No, it's
when you
not,
see
no.
like the 32 coupes come in, and the T-buckets come in, and just something that's
like if
a
someone brought like
69
original
a
Thunderbird
69
in,
Shelby or something like that come in, it's mint.
Oh yeah, the original Thunderbird.
that would be really cool.
We've got
Yeah.
a Thunderbird class.
That just blows you away when those come in, and you just look at the car, and it's like, man, this is beautiful. It's like a piece of art.
Yeah.
Well, you've got your Gen 1 Mustangs. I did an interview with a lady last weekend who, when she graduated from University of Alabama, her father took her to the Ford dealership to buy her a Fairlane. But as they were standing there, a truck pulled in, a transport truck, and it had a fastback Mustang on there. Well, she begged Daddy, right? Now, this lady graduated. She was a teacher. Over the years, she never let go of her Mustang. She still got it. She drove it out there to the track. She has restored that Mustang. She did all the engine work on it. And then she really blew me away with the fact that her and her mother did all the upholstery on it. And then she took paint and body shop and learned how to do the body work, and she painted it. It was sitting outside. It was gorgeous.
See, they can kind of do that with the e-vehicles, right?
81, yeah. 81.
Yes.
But see,
If
like
you have the
that's the kind
passion
of
for
people I
those.
like that they go through that. But
But,
man, I had a
those are the
question
cars
about
we'll
that.
see tomorrow.
Yeah.
You'll see those out there.
So okay, I do have a question for you guys because Mustangs it's an iconic car, but why is it they always make them not as fast as they could be? Because like I always hear people say like, oh, this year's not a good year for it because it could be better, or like you just get a Saline if you're going to get a Mustang, but you're also doubling the price.
Well,
But it's like, why wouldn't Ford? I always feel like if it's really weird because I feel like most Mustangs, like standard ones, start at the bottom compared to what they could do.
well, for the price point for to get more people out, there's over 10 million Mustangs on the road,
Okay.
and some people can't afford a $60,000-$70,000 factory race car.
Well, you got to compare them with the older cars. The older cars were only about 200 horses.
Yeah.
So now you go buy an Eagle Boost, that's 315, 320,
And they're fast.
and they're fast.
Yeah.
So you can't really,
Well, no, I don't really. I'm trying to think because like I know some car people are like, oh, it's just not like you want to get a better one. If you're really going to get a Mustang, get the, like, a Shelby or get this. Like,
Right.
It's like a better car.
Yeah, but
I'm
like he's
well, no.
saying, that's another $20,000.
I was like, well, no wonder it's better. It's $20,000 more.
You know, if you're 32 years old and you've got a wife and you've got a couple of kids that are under 10 years of age, the chances of that $70,000 Mustang being affordable are pretty nil, right?
You did an interview with a kid with an EcoBoost
last week, yeah,
400 horse,
29-year-old kid from a local Alabama club. He has an EcoBoost, a 4-cylinder, and he's pumping out 458
so he's
horsepower to the
tinkered
rear
with
wheels.
it for that much?
Yep.
Yeah.
They,
this kid was pretty impressive.
Ford
Yeah.
makes an aftermarket turbo, and you can get a turbo kit to boost that power.
See, why wouldn't they just put it in there?
Well, they do. They do. But it's like the Focus you were talking about, right? They built the RT, which was a rally.
Yeah.
If they just put it in there,
right?
then what would you do? Right?
Yeah.
So it takes the fun away from it.
But
That's true.
but there's something to do on the weekend. Modify that car
Yeah.
and buy that part.
See, I don't think that way, because I'm not like a mechanic
You want it ready
person.
to go.
I just want to go fast, guys. Like,
Well-
what does it take for me to go fast?
That's
Yeah.
me. I don't work on my cars. I'll pay somebody to work
Yeah.
on my cars.
I like to fix it, but like to work on it, because I probably won't do it right the first time.
I'll polish it. That's about as far as I go.
Y'all have y'all's favorite car washes around here? What's
We
the
don't
best?
do car washes.
No, it's
Really?
all, it's
Yeah,
all
tell-
hand wash.
So you do all hand wash?
yeah.
Y'all don't do like the power wash kind
no.
of mechanism?
They just
No.
don't seem to get it clean enough. It's nothing like elbow grease.
Okay.
Just
I
put
mean,
your
I will
elbow
take it to a
it.
hand car wash every now and then, but I'd prefer to wash it myself.
Right.
See, I bet you can have that conversation all day with the people at the club. Like, what wax do you use?
Oh.
What soap do you
Oh,
use?
you have no, yeah.
What brushes do you use?
What
what kind
line
of
on the
hose
concrete.
do you use?
How do you dry it off?
Yep.
The correct way of doing it.
That's
no
right.
swirls, straight lines.
That's right.
I need to hang out. I need to hang out with you guys because
Yeah, you're welcome to
Well,
come
what's
hang out with
pissing
us,
me
man.
off is the pollen.
The pollen.
It's
You're not
terrible.
You're not going to win over the pollen.
Because I actually took my car to show it to my grandmother this weekend, and I stopped by a car wash because it was so bad. And I'm sitting there thinking, I probably shouldn't be taking this car through a car wash. Because just, I've heard it like,
With it being new, a good ceramic wax could really help.
Yeah.
And that way, all you got to do is get like a little duster.
yeah, just.
California duster.
There you
man.
go.
But yeah, and she was impressed. She was like, "Oh, this is a little truck." It's like, thanks, Grandma.
Yeah, that's funny. That Maverick's the size of what trucks used to be.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
But guys, we got to be wrapping up here in a second. So let's kind of recap. Tomorrow we have the All Ford show. I call it a fundraiser.
Right.
With
It
the
is.
Northside
It is.
Mustang Car Club. All Fords are welcome as long as it has a Ford engine.
Right.
So
That's
I
right.
think that should be an award. Most creative Ford engine.
And
like,
also, if you don't have a car to put in, you can still come by and give us a donation for the Golo Christmas.
we
for
get a
Kids.
shirt or
We
a
have-
donation.
We have shirts. Yep. Just come by
that's important too. 100% of the proceeds will go to Gullo Christmas for Kids.
Yeah, and that's in Christmas time.
At Christmas time is when that donation
Yeah.
is made.
Yeah.
But regardless, it goes to kids in Montgomery County.
And
Actually, Golo Christmas for Kids is 3 programs. It's Christmas for Kids, it's Earning by Learning, and it's scholarship. So it's actually
it's year
giving money-
round. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
But let me
year-round.
mention this. You mentioned it earlier that it sounds like everybody gets an award. That's not the case. There's a certain
Yeah, you
percentage
didn't like
of
that
awards.
joke? I kind of slipped that in there. You
well-
said there's 33 awards,
well,
and I'm like, geez, all right.
You'd be surprised how many people think that, right? But we have a certain percentage we give out that's first and second place awards.
Okay,
And then we have
that makes sense.
33 categories, but of those 33 categories, there's still 14 that we don't have any entries in.
that are pre-registered.
So if you look online, this information's online, you could actually enter into a category. You're guaranteed an award in that case, because we do have people that don't like to compete.
Right.
You know, but we'll be setting up. We'll be doing live music out there all day long, and we bought a little low power transmitter, 15 watts. It'll broadcast about 2 miles. We have to find an open FM slot out at Papa's
not
on the
not
lake.
104.5, not 106.1.
No, we know we
Okay.
won't be broadcasting on those. We won't
Not that
overpower
one.
you guys. But no, we'll find something empty. We'll be broadcasting on some FM station. The actual show, well, we'll call it NMCC Car Club Radio, but it'll be the Bubba and Yoda show.
Oh,
out
I
there.
love it.
yeah. So you can come see Randy DJ.
Yeah,
also.
you can watch
I
me
love it.
flap
We got
like
a
I've
great.
been doing.
Y'all got great voices. So
Oh, listen to this. Yeah.
Yolanda,
We'll take
got to
that
work
comment.
on. You got to work on yours.
Uh,
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, just to remind folks, it's a free event. If you want to enter your truck or car or whatever, it has to have a Ford engine. That's $30. It starts at 8 o'clock tomorrow at Papa's on the Lake. And it's generally just kind of a hangout. Because, like, only thing to be honest, what I like the idea of y'all's club is just I have someone knowledgeable I can talk to about cars.
Right.
Because a lot of times I'm going on YouTube. I rely on my friend Kurt. And it's just, like, amazing. I'm always amazed at what people know about cars.
Right.
Because at one point they go, I'm going to become a mechanic if you start knowing that much.
You'd be surprised how many kids get in the club and they go to UTI or some other specialty school, biotech or somewhere, and that's what they do for a living. They become mechanics. Then they came out through our club.
Yeah, I would. I mean, that whole world interests me because fixing stuff's fun.
Right. This is a family event out there, so if you're coming out, bring the family.
Yeah.
We'd love to see the little kids, and it's amazing to see which car they gravitate to.
Right.
And hey, by the way, looking on here, I noticed we don't have any Maverick entries.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I got the Astros game tomorrow, guys.
Well, you can watch that on TV.
So can I just leave the car there? How does that work?
Yeah, you can do that.
Well, you could watch that in Papa's at the Lake. I'm sure.
Well, you know what? I'd rather go to Minute Maid.
That's okay. Just bring the Maverick, park it there, make your entry. They can enter where at carshowfun.com.
Carshowfun.com.
You can enter online.
How does that work? Do you just leave my truck there?
They do that. Yeah, people leave and they'll
well, that's the strangest thing about the new tech for that car. Quick story before we got to go. So I guess it's possible to leave your keys in the car because it's one of those wireless key entries.
I haven't done this yet.
So is actually for the Astro no-hitter. When they were doing the no-hitter, we're bowling, and my buddy didn't want to tell me they were throwing a no-hitter. So we're getting in I drove us to the lanes, and we get in the car, and he's like, hey, turn on the radio. And I was like, okay, the Astros game? He's like, yeah, there's no hitter. And I was like, what? We got to get home. So I was like rushing home. And it's like I think it was like the top of the 8th. And then right when the bottom of the 9th was about to start, I was like, get inside, start the TV. I'll get the balls. Well, I left all my phone. I left my keys in the car, locked it. And I locked the keys, like I couldn't open it. And I was like, isn't it supposed to, you're not supposed to be able to do that with a keyless entry. It's right there. Well, luckily, I could log in because I remember my login from Ford or whatever
on the app.
On the app, so he has a Bronco, and I was like, "This is so." I was like, "Let's watch the game first. Let's watch the game, watch the no hitter, and then afterwards, like, oh yeah, I locked my keys in the car. We got to figure this out real quick."
So you logged in on
the app, and it
unlocked
worked.
your keys.
Okay, but isn't that cool?
I was sitting there freaking out about it because I go, ironically, my spare keys in my bowling bag at the bowling alley.
Yeah. I believe you can also start your car with that app.
Yes,
but this is the type of technology that's going to come along with the electric vehicles,
and you also can see where it is parked.
Right. Yep.
So
see that?
Yeah, because like when I went to Austin for 2 weeks in it, that's what I was like, I don't know
sure
where
it was in the same place?
I don't live here. Like I have no idea where I am. Like that's why I always used it to be like, oh, that's where I parked. Okay, cool. But no, that was wild to me because I thought you couldn't lock your key in the car because it's a keyless entry.
Yeah, that's new to me.
But somehow it did, and I don't know what I did wrong because I don't really know what I'm doing half the time with that car. So it's a learning process.
That's the cool stuff, though, as we advance in technology.
And my buddy was like, I'm surprised you remembered the login. I'm like, I don't forget those kind of things. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming in. I will let folks know if you want more information about tomorrow's event. I did put the event link below for Facebook. We're going to get back to normal radio stuff going on here. We have the Texas Ticket coming on at 1 o'clock, guys. It's going to be a wonderful show. We got a lot of guests for that. I think we have Tyler Tillman. He's a musician. It's going to be live performances from him. And then there's also the local events happening because, as you know, the county fair started. And then there's a lot of stuff going on. So you guys take care. We'll see you guys later here on Mornings with Lone Star.
Lone Star Community Radio